It's another beautiful episode of Wearable Today, episode number 84, Meteorite Error. My name is Jeffrey Powers. Thanks a lot for watching. We are here, and we're going to be talking about Project Aura. Is this the Google Glass of 2016? I don't know. We're also going to talk about Pebble. We're going to talk about what 93% of companies are doing with WearTech and the new company called Acton. You might have seen them on Shark Tank. We're going to talk about that and a whole bunch more on this episode 84 of Wearable Today, which is brought to you by our friends over at CashFly for all the RSS non-YouTube bandwidth. Go over to CACHEFLY.com for more. And then, of course, we are part of the Maker Max community. Go over to max.maker.com to find out more. Hey, everybody. Jeffrey Powers here from Geekazine. Think Magazine, put in a geek. You've got... well, Geekazine. That's usually how it works. Geekazine. Anyway. And, of course, I'm here always. It's my guy to the left, to the right, and the green guy to the right, Mr. Luke Wallace. How you doing, Luke?
Doing good tonight, Jeffrey. Yeah, my name is Luke Luca. I live on the second floor, and you may have heard of me before. You can find me at Twitter, LUKELUCA, or Luke at wearabletoday.com, or on Google Plus, google.com/plus Luke Wallace.
Yes. What?
And Birdie's here with us today.
Hi, Birdie. How are you doing? Sure, you won't talk to me.
She can't hear you. See, I listen to you through.
Oh, that's right.
So
yeah.
She doesn't hear you.
Put it up to his little birdie ears.
I know. I need to get little birdie headphones that could go right on the side of her head. I don't think she'd like those.
Yeah, probably not. So, all right. Well, that takes us to the first part of our show, and that is Big News, Little Arms. And a cup.
Pebble has gone circular. The Pebble blog showed off their new line of smartwatches last week and stated that they're the lightest and thinnest smartwatches that they've made as of yet. The Pebble Time Round is only 7.5 millimeters thick and weighs just 28 grams. It also comes in multiple designs. The new watch should be available soon, starting at $249 with a $50 discount if you ordered before November 8th. Does that mean it's normally $299 with a $50 discount to $249, or $249 and you get it for $199?
Well, you know, at first when I saw this article, it was from another article, and they were saying it was $50 off from a Kickstarter campaign that they did. But then you go to the website and it says $249. Basically, what happens is when you get your watch, they will then credit you another $50, from what I understand. But I'm not 100% sure on that. So just read the fine print carefully when you go to order your Pebble watch, because I'm thinking about getting one of those watches. They look pretty cool. So
it's not a bad deal.
No, definitely not. So let's move on from there. Do you want to know what 93% of companies are doing with wearable tech? Yeah, I do. is it IBS or LBS? Labs, that's it. APXLabs.com put together a white paper outlining the wearables, how wearables are being put to work. Basically, from getting getting a work done faster to solving problems easier. The paper goes out to all types of wearables, and if you want to check out more, apxlabs.com for that information. Here's
a fun one. Did Wearable Tech help the Golden State Warriors win a title? That's what Andre Iguodala, I'm probably butchering that name, stated at TechCrunch Disrupt last week.
Iguodala.
He talked about
Iguodala. I actually spent a little bit of time actually trying to pronounce that name, and then I gave you the articles. So
I wondered if that's how that works.
Yeah,
you're like, I guess that's what I get.
I give you the Iguodala. So anyway.
Yep. He talked about how collecting data can build a great product. He even said too much information could be bad, but just the right amount could help us go a long way.
And, TechCrunch Disrupt, there's a lot of great videos at TechCrunch Disrupt. I try to go to TechCrunch Disrupt every time because it's awesome. and a lot of new technology and apps and stuff like that in their hackathon. But you know, I don't live in San Francisco; it's tough for me to get there. So, but it's cool.
There, yeah.
They even had my friend Michael Yim from Breathometer. He was there, and I guess he's coming out with a new book talking about wearable tech, and you know, that's pretty cool stuff over there. But let's get it back into the news here. Of course, that is news, you know. So, if you watched Shark Tank last Friday, you saw mobility company Acton was on there with their electronic skates. The company's product allowed you to go up to 10 miles on a charge, depending on the version of skates that you purchased, which basically is perfect for zipping around a campus or maybe a few blocks from home. While the company did not get funded by the Sharks, they did get some great praise by people like Robert Herjavec, who would buy their product. They just, you know, it's one of those things. You go on Shark Tank, you got to be completely prepared for it. And if they feel like you don't have your numbers set up, they're just going to pass on it. And I think that was the biggest problem with them. And of course, there's competition out in the space, because I've seen multiple companies like that out there. So, but it's a cool, we'll watch for Acton, and maybe we'll try and get on a pair for CES if they're there, and go from there. So,
yeah. Well, we definitely take a review copy, and two pairs.
One for you, one for me. Because it won't work if you get one skate and I get the other.
That's very true. So yeah, maybe if we have two, and then we can take them around, kind of give our own little review of how they work.
Exactly.
It'd be good.
And we'll see.
Yeah, they look really interesting, and definitely something to think about.
Yeah, we'll definitely see what happens.
Yeah. And finally, Vector Luna and Meridian smartwatches became available on Friday in the UK. They come in round or square face designs and have a 30-day battery life. They're designed by former Timex CEO Joe Santana and former Nike design chief Steve Jarvis. And their price, they start at just £219. Because remember, this is in the UK. So
yeah,
a couple of new smartwatches coming on the market. The 30-day battery life's pretty good. So.
Oh yeah, when I read that, I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. But of course, it's all going to depend on what you have in the watch, what apps you have running, and what apps you can run. I don't know if this is just going to be a Twitter, email, accept a phone call. Can you actually take a phone call from your watch or anything like that? You know, full Dick Tracy exposure, or is it just a watch that does a couple extra things to it? So
your mileage may vary is probably the most accurate way to describe how battery life works for smartwatches.
Yeah, definitely. So, all right, well, that takes us to the next segment there, and that is not the next segment. The next segment is called Fund Me. Ooh, you did have that called up. Good job. I don't have this called up. Let's do this. There we go. This is actually a new crowdfund website that I've never been to. It's called crowdsupply.com. So, you know, I'm just gonna say it right now. You know, be a little bit cautious. You know, a website can pop up and say it's a crowdfunding website, and you start putting money into it, and you don't know. I don't know what this is about. I've never been on here. Have you ever seen Crowd Supply, Luke?
Crowd Supply is not one that I'm familiar with, so I would be just a little wary of it, and see, maybe try to find some other articles about, you know, reviews, and, you know, what are some other products that maybe that have been funded this way.
Yeah, definitely.
Not to say that there's not room for competition. It's just, hey, there's a new one, so you know, keep it in mind. And
I'll keep it and try and vet it a little bit. I'm sure it's on the up and up. It's just new to us. So, but anyway, this is called Crowd Supply, and they have this. It's a really actually cool wearable. Now, as a drummer, you know, when you wear in-ears as a drummer, basically you need to feel the bass drum, because you can't hear the bass drum because these in-ears don't have, at least 5-10 years ago, in-ears didn't have those extra drivers to actually make the bass sounds where you could actually hear them. So what they would do is they get what was called, excuse the French, but it's what's called ass kickers. And it's basically a bass amp that gets put underneath your drum throne to make your seat vibrate. So when I saw this, I thought to myself, well, this might be a great replacement for that, but it's also great for you dancers out there that really need to feel the bass. And if it's all about that bass, it's great. BassAware Drop is for you, a new audio device that uses vibration to create a body bass experience. The device wears like a vest and connects to your device, whatever smartphone, tablet, whatever, to put a bump in your body. It's all about the humps, I suppose, or something like that. So anyway, the device has a 15-watt RMS tactile transducer and a bass vibration amplifier. It's pass-through device, so basically you put your phone into a plug there and then the plug to your headphones from there. And so you can listen to your music. It also has a 2600 milliamp, 12-volt lithium-ion battery for 12 to 20 hours worth of vibration. Good vibration, that is. So I don't know. Do you Luke, are you all about the bass there or what?
I don't know if I'm all about that bass.
No treble.
I definitely like some treble. So this is probably not something that I would personally be interested in. Although you start talking about video games, having headphones on, like I've played a lot of video games wearing headphones, just because, it can get kind of loud, or it can be a little bit disturbing if somebody's trying to sleep in the morning. Let's not try to figure out who that would be, or late at night.
Let's not argue over who shot who. Yeah, no.
Yeah, come on. So having a way to get some of the bass, because that is one thing I always lose. Right? You put on your headphones, it sounds pretty good, but all that subwoofer noise, which can be so critical to an experience, is missing. So, can't say that I would never do it. Probably not right in my wheelhouse, because, like I said, I'm not all about that bass. But it's definitely, I'm definitely about some bass.
Yeah,
some bass with enough treble.
Yeah.
Not as popular of a song. I mean, I think people like someone who can be very decisive, very black and white, and really go all in on a single thing. So yes, this product might not be for me, but I know there's a lot of people out there that are all about the bass. In fact, they've made certain pop songs on such topics very popular.
All about the bass.
Mm-hmm. So. Those are the people that are, yes.
All right. Well, the cool thing is the funding, and this is actually something that I rarely see, and it's really cool when I do see it. And I got to point this out here, and you might not be able to see it from the screen here, but basically it's $340. It's $10 for a regular thank you support, but $349 for the BassAware Drop. This is where it's cool. For $279, you can get the BassAware Drop do-it-yourself kit. So it's not put together. You get to put it together and maybe improve upon it a little bit and go from there. But for $279, you could get a feel, like you're doing something with it. And then, of course, for almost $1,000, you get the premium Audie's EL8 closed back headphones. So you get a pair of headphones with the bass system. So it gives you, and the best part is those are, even though it's too small for crowdfunding, I think they should add like 4 or 5 more options. They give you limited options because that does help. But I think that they need to do some sub $100 to really back this up. But it's a great idea. And of course, they're looking for a $50,000 goal. They're only $2,000. They have 34 days left. So check it out. And of course, if we can get a hands on a vest or two, then we will try all about that bass and see what happens. Maybe during the podcast, we'll just kind of vibrate like that or something. I don't know. But maybe put it on Birdie. That would be kind of fun.
I think that might hurt Birdie if
they made a small Birdie bass vest for
I don't know. Birdie has not indicated whether she is all about the bass or not. She has certain sounds that she likes and she sings along to, but they tend to be more like the hair dryer or a running faucet, those kinds of things, which are not particularly bassy.
Does she ever sit on top of your speakers or anything like that? Do you have like speakers in your living room or anything like that?
Yeah, they're all pretty small, so she doesn't usually sit on the speakers.
Okay.
So
all right, well, maybe we'll see what happens. But anyway, if you want to check that all out, we'll have the link in the show notes. So you just go to the show notes,
as always,
the link, and as always, you can go from there. So let's move on from there. Let's go over to our next segment called. Are you ready for the sound effect?
I'm ready.
All right, it's called the Apple Watch. I like how it just stops. It's like I'm waiting for it to ring or something like that, but it just stops. Yeah. So anyway, of course, last week, lots of updates happened. My iOS, I was on iOS beta 9 for a while, and they upgraded me to the regular 9 before general release, and then 9.01 already came out for iOS. And of course the big iPad event come and gone, and they came out with the new iPhone 6 with the new stuff like that. But they also released the Apple Watch OS 2, which I just got a comment from somebody, and they basically said, wait a minute, they're putting OS 2 on watches?
No, not OS/2.
That's probably not the first time you've heard that joke, but it's still funny. Yeah, no OS 2 Warp, no OS 3 or OS 4. IBM's operating system is pretty much dead. Although it'd be kind of fun to put OS 2 Warp it'd be OS 3 Warp. It wasn't OS 2 Warp. It was OS 3 Warp on a wearable device to see what it would do besides crash. But we'll go from there. So anyway, we got a full review of the Watch OS 2, which became available last week. New features include the new watch faces, third-party complications, which is basically a widget system that an app can use for pop-ups, more functionality to the crown, and more functionality to the apps third-party app makers can make into the apps. So you can do more with the cool apps. But some might, this complication sounds like it could be a very horrible pop-up thing for not only I don't know if you could put ads into the pop-ups, but because what it's supposed to do is it's supposed to pop up when your meeting is there, or if you arrive at a destination, whatever they designate, it's popping up. So we'll have to see how this complicates things.
Yeah, I think the name is pretty accurate in this sense of additional information being available, and kind of like they have to be temporal in some sense, like related to time, because people are going to be scrolling through them. So you wouldn't just want to have like a shopping list or something in there, because it's not like at 3:00 you want bread and at 3:20 you want milk, and so scrolling through them only really makes sense when it's all time based. So there's a limit to what kind of information is relevant at specific times, appointments and maybe emails or, weather, those kinds of things. But there's so many things that people do that are not really time-based, especially once you get into the future. Sure, being able to scroll back through and see old Instagram photos is great, but when you scroll forward, there will not be anything because it doesn't know what's going to be posted in 3 hours.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think that there's some limit to just inherently to the type of data that will be shown in those things. But, I'm sure it'll be, people will get used to the 4 or 5 options that they have, and they'll like those for what they are. Yeah,
definitely. Actually, we have Marco Nieves, that's how you pronounce his name. I sent an email and asked him what he thought of a few things. He gave me a few choice words for Apple Watch. And one of the things he said was the custom watch face complications are actually extremely useful. Dark sky and carrot weather complications are so much more accurate than the stock weather app. Down to almost the minute forecasts, especially precipitation, is amazing and eerie how accurate these things are. So think about it. You could be walking down the street. All of a sudden your watch pops up and says, you better pull out your umbrella. And it's like you pull out your umbrella and all of a sudden it just starts pouring. I think, and I'm kind of extrapolating what Marco just said, but that's what it sounded like. How scarily close to accurate this stuff is. So he wrote a lot of stuff here. But I'll put the choice paragraphs into the show notes. He says it's still lacking useful apps that take advantage of the hardware more. It's open to developers now that it's more open to developers. It's still lacking more useful native apps and more useful complications. But yeah, I figure within time, and I'm guessing you're going to figure that too. Within time, as people start to understand what complications are, they're going to use them and abuse them as they normally do. And then we're probably going to hear some story about how some app was banned because they abused the complications. So, but I don't know. Do you have the email up at all or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I know he also says that it does need more apps. Like he feels like there aren't as many native apps as he would like. There's, it's absolutely certain that developers are working on that and looking to make better native apps. A lot of it is, it's very hard to come up with good apps on a brand new platform.
Yeah.
Because people are just like, I'm not even sure what people want. We're not sure how people really want to use the device. And Apple has some guidance, and you can see other smartwatches, but it's really hard to know what people will really want to do with it. And so somebody will spend enough time to figure it out, and they'll be very successful. And then there'll be a whole bunch of copycats. It'll be a lot like, the original iPhone or original Android phones. There were a lot of apps that were just kind of trying different things to see what was popular. Yeah. And then as things became, like eventually a few of them catch, right? Instagram, all of a sudden people were like, yes, I want a way to just look at photos, because this screen is actually much better for photos than smartphone screens have been prior to this. So this is a really nice experience. Yes, I enjoy this. So it'll be that kind of thing. I don't know if photos will be what's popular on watches, but it'll be something like that. People will start to crack that nut of what is it that people want on their watch, and then you'll see that just explosion happen as once people say yes, someone finally figured it out.
Yeah, but I'm assuming that it's perfect for the water cooler or something like that. It's like, hey, look at my kids. They're right here. Oh, these are awesome. Instead of pulling out a phone, because a lot of bosses will sit there and go, don't pull out your phone, but they can't say don't pull out your watch because it's right there. But
it's a good point.
Yeah. And I could see that in some cases, and that. So Marco also said his favorite apps. Where was this? His favorite apps were right now. I just had it. Now it's gone. I know it was WebMD was one of them, and Dark Sky was another one. And he had one. He said that him and his wife were big fans of Sketch's feature, and they haven't stopped sketching with the WatchOS 2. So he's got a few favorites to this, and that's pretty cool. So, and of course I polled a couple other people and asked them what they thought of WatchOS 2. So far I've heard good praise, but these are also people that turned around and said WatchOS and Apple Watch was horrible. So it could only get better than what it was. But I haven't heard anything negative off of that. I don't know. Have you, Luke, at all?
I haven't heard a whole lot of comments either way, honestly, on it. Of the people that I know that have it, it hasn't been a huge deal. Everyone, I think, is kind of like Marco said. They're seeing a few native apps and they're excited about the potential for more. But there's not amazing stuff on it yet. That's just like, okay, now you have to have one. You saw that after a couple revisions of the iPhone, and like when apps started coming out and you could actually download third-party apps, then all of a sudden everybody's like, okay, you have to have one now because you can download so many different apps and do so many different things with it. It's so much better. Yeah. I don't think we've hit that tipping point yet on the watch where people are like, where it's really critical.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't think we're going to get there with the current Apple Watch that we have. I think it's going to be revision. I don't know. Do you think it's going to be revision 2 of the Apple Watch or revision 3? Because a lot of people are saying that they really want that camera on an Apple Watch, and I'm going to myself, why would you want to do that? And but that's one of the big requests.
I think battery life is just. I just don't see how you could have a good enough battery life with that. I think if they can figure that problem out, they might be able to do it. It'll probably start off, if they do it at all, it'll be just sending quick video messages. It will not be, oh, I'm going to record and do a live video chat with it, because it's like, there's no way it'll like kill your battery after 5 minutes, like you just can't do it. But a 10-second video, you could probably get away with.
It'll be no different. I mean, this is of course Google Glass, and this is the battery right here for Google Glass. And as that, I could see that.
But that battery is bigger than the Apple Watch.
No, it's about half the size, I would say, as you can see right there. I don't know. The way that they're doing batteries, and you got to understand. Remember, this is like what, 2.5 years old now. For these versions,
but still, like that had a much smaller display. It had the cam hardware.
It had 144 resolution on their 144p, so I could see Apple taking that, and of course, Apple runs with codecs a lot better than Google does. Well, at least Google did back then. Now they're kind of catching up with it. As you can see, we use Google Hangouts, and of course the I can't remember the codec that they use, the X265, whatever it is. So, but the whole point is that, I think that they could do it, and I think that they could put a good camera in there. A good camera to a couple years ago standard, like 2.5 megapixels or something like that. Nothing like an 18 megapixel or whatever the 6S Plus has nowadays, and go from there. And don't expect great pictures, but you expect somebody to take a picture of you like this, like a little Batman pose or something. I don't know. But anyway.
Laser watch or something.
You'll be like this. Your watch is like this. You'll be like, I took a picture. I took your picture. I took your picture.
Yeah. I still think it's going to be too big of a challenge. But, they surprise people all the time. And
too big of a challenge at this point. But maybe 5-10 years down the road, not as
Sure. Oh, yeah. You can't discount like 5 years from now, because if we looked at what the iPhone and Android phones were 5 years ago, it was not real pretty.
Yeah, that's very true. So
it's like, sure, it'll probably get there someday, but it won't be. It's not going to be this. It's probably not going to be the next revision. Maybe some short video recording or something, but I think it's just a size issue at this point.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, that does it for Apple Watch, and that does it for Big News, Little Arms. No roar?
Oh. Sorry. I missed my cue.
That was your cue. That was your cue. Don't miss your P's and don't miss your Q's. That's all I'm saying. So, anyway, we had a week off. Of course, Luke, you went to where'd you go?
I've only seen it written. I think it's pronounced Arkansas.
No, it's not my Kansas.
Not our Kansas. Arkansas.
That's not my Kansas. It might be your Kansas, but not our Kansas.
This Kansas is
your
our
Kansas.
This
Kansas is my Kansas.
Kansas.
From Kansas.
Kansas.
And the cool thing is right now I'm missing the Packer game, which is going on right now, and they're playing Kansas City.
Yeah, see, Kansas City. There's Kansas City, then there's our Kansas, then your Kansas, my Kansas.
Wouldn't you like a B Kansas too? I don't know.
Yeah, I would.
So you went to Arkansas. How'd that go? Did you do anything cool? Any wearable stuff or anything like that?
I'm being told that it's pronounced Arkansas. So I wore my Moto 360 everywhere. Got in lots of steps. Got to see some of the beautiful countryside they have there. Walk up through the hills of northwest Kansas. Very, very pretty. Took a little train ride. So it was very, very nice. We'll definitely be trying to figure out how we go back, where we go when we go back, all that good stuff.
That's cool. That's cool.
Good times.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've never been to Arkansas or your Kansas or anybody's Kansas, and it'd be kind of fun to go. Maybe we'll go together. We'll go, all four of us. Let's go down to Kansas or Arkansas.
Maybe it might be. I don't know how. It's probably closer to us than it is to you. We need to find a good midway point to meet up.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Well, your week was better than my week, and that's for sure.
Yep.
So if you haven't heard, when we last left off, actually, I had a little bit of WearTech. Actually, it is WearTech. Yeah, I had a little WearTech malfunction as I slipped a disc in my back. The week ago Saturday, I was playing with the band, and my back was feeling a little bit awkward anyway. And this whole summer I thought I had bursitis. Everything pointed to it. But on Saturday I was doing some major limping, and then we played, and I got done, and it was just hurting, and then the next day it just went to crud. So finally, and I had actually had an appointment to see a physical therapist, and just happened to be on Monday. So I went in on Monday, and we did some tests, and she goes, "Oh yeah, you got a slip disc, herniated disc, bulging disc, whatever you want to call it. Basically, they say it's like a jelly donut, and inside the jelly donut you have a cream-filled center." I'm thinking to myself, well, thanks. I'm now diabetic, so telling me about jelly donuts, it's not a good thing. So, but anyway, the whole point is that they said in this jelly donut, what happens is every now and then the jelly comes out of one of the corners or something like that, and we've got to push it back in. And it's like, okay, now I'm very hungry, and now I'm very much in pain, and I need a cup of coffee to go with my jelly donuts. Well, actually, I'd prefer Long John's Krillers with peanut butter on top of them. That's my favorite donut right there. So, but the whole point is that I was in agony, and then they put me on the traction machine. That traction machine is the most awesomest thing in the world. And they just pulled me apart, and I got up and I was like, oh, that feels a lot better. And I wanted to go back and use the traction machine every day, but couldn't do that. So this whole week I've spent it mostly on the couch, catching up on Ray Donovan and Homeland episodes through my Hulu Plus Showtime subscription. And of course, all the new shows of the new season, which I saw. I saw Gotham, and I saw Limitless, the TV show from the movie, which I thought was pretty good. The Player, which was horrible. Don't watch it. Horrible. And then, of course, a lot of season premieres. And so that was my week. And Jennifer she's gone for like 4 days on some Aveda retreat. And I was a bachelor this weekend. And what did I do this weekend? I stayed on the couch. On the couch. Can you believe it? So, anyway.
Yeah, I believe it.
That's my WearTech problems today. So, what can you do? Now, actually, this is really cool because today is the first day I've actually been able to sit in this chair for more than 10 minutes without my back just completely going crazy. And so things are getting better. I'm doing my exercises. I can't. The one thing they said is, I said, well, I'm going to the gym. They said, don't do that.
Yeah.
I can't work out. And it's like, and then I went back to Jennifer. They said, I can't work out. What can you do? So I'm doing my exercises, though. That's the key right there. So anyway, anything coming up for you, Luke?
Oh, not for a couple of weeks. Yeah. Pretty light, just getting back into the swing of things. Fall has started, and time to get back to work.
Yeah, definitely. And we're gonna hit it hard in the next few weeks, and we'll get some good stuff going for you. And of course, if you want to help out, if you got questions or anything like that, let us know over at wearabletoday.com. Geekazine, my Twitter handle, of course, Luke for Luke's Twitter handle. And if you want to be part of the show, we can figure out ways to do that and go from there. I want to tell you about some, of course, our wearabletoday.com/deals. wearabletoday.com/deals, where you can go and let's pull it up really quick. There's never really quick on this new Chrome because everything has to reload. There we go. Of course, if you go to wearabletoday.com/deals, you can find out about some cool deals. Actually, look at that. Oh no, that's a different one. I thought that was that armband you were talking about just a little bit earlier before the show.
Yeah.
but that's not.
Looks similar, but not the same.
It's the MyoGesture Control armband. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
$169. These are actually pretty cheap. I mean, like for instance, the Motorola Moto 360 with a black leather smartwatch, the one you've got. I think right now you can get it. You can get it brand new for $180, and it's $118 right here used. It's usually just, you know, they used it for a couple days and then they threw it back in the box, or they got it as a gift and they didn't want it, so they returned it or something like that, or it was refurbed. There's a possibility it got refurbed and go from there. So some great deals over there over at wearabletoday.com/deals. If you need a fitness tracker, if you need a watch, if you need a set of earplugs or anything else, go over there and check that out. So. All right. And then, of course, I want to thank you guys for being a part of the South by Southwest panel picker. Of course, a couple weeks ago, they ended the voting part of it, and I know some of you voted for it, so thank you very much. Now it's in the hands of the illustrious judges. So, judges, I hope that you're watching the show and you're saying to yourself, hey, this might not be a bad panel, because we've got a good panel for South by Southwest. Of course, Marco will be on from as a MakerBot employee, showing some 3D printed wearables. And then, of course, Shell Israel, who just came out with his book. I forgot the name of it. Something of luminosity or something. Oh, man. I'm horrible. Sorry, Shell. Sorry about that. But anyway, he'll be on as the main guest, of course, if the panel gets picked for South by Southwest. So and there's nothing you can do at this point. So thanks to everybody that voted. We're just waiting to see if we get in. Hopefully we'll get in, and if that happens, we're going to promote the crud out of it, and of course go to Austin. I'll be at South by Southwest no matter what. I've got my pass already, and I will be there. I'm going to try to be there for a couple days of music as well, which should be a lot of fun because I've never done the music part of things, and I'm hoping to get some good interviews there. So, are you making any plans for South by or no?
Not yet. It's a little ways out, but that'll be on the agenda to start thinking about here in the next couple of months, because it'll be here before you know it. Just because we're real busy now through the end of the year, and then as soon as the new year comes up, bam! It's back-to-back conferences. It seems like everywhere. So
yeah. And another thing, just so you guys know, it doesn't mean that if we don't get picked for the panel that we can't do a Wearable Today episode. We've got opportunity to do that, to plan something. I'm hoping that we become an official South by Southwest panel. That's the dream. But there's other options that we can do once that happens. So we might just do some live shows from South by Southwest as well. So we'll see what happens. And of course, it depends on schedules, and because somebody's got to work. And I don't know. Can you bring Birdie with you? I suppose.
Probably can. I think Birdie actually travels pretty well. Yeah. We've taken her on several day trips and overnight trips and stuff. We've taken her Thanksgiving, Christmas, those kinds of things. She likes to get out and see other family members and stuff. So she's pretty good to travel. She could definitely make the trip. Okay.
Well, it's not like you're flying or anything. Like it's a 2-hour drive for you, right?
Well, for flying, Birdie knows how to do that too. So.
Oh yeah, does Birdie fly in a plane, or does Birdie fly by the plane, or?
I don't think Birdie's ever been in a plane. Okay. She's like, I don't need a plane to fly.
She's going like this. Yes, I have. Yeah. Yes, I have.
You were in a plane? You were in a plane, Birdie? You were? Oh, when was this? Was this while I was gone? Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well, there you go. Things that you don't know about your Birdie.
Exactly. It's like, I don't know exactly what she does when we're gone. Apparently she goes on plane rides and does some other stuff.
She's probably got her own jet. She's doing the lavish lifestyle of the rich and famous. And you just don't know it. Gold crusted rings and bracelets and all about the base vests and stuff like that. And
yeah, she does have this nice little ring on. But yeah.
Oh, she does have a ring on? What? She does have a ring on?
Yeah, she has a little band on her foot. It's hard to see there.
Is there a GPS thing on it or something?
No, it's just a marking band for to show that she wasn't taken from the wild. She was basically
or drug cartels. something like usually that, yes. Are big drug cartels. Yeah. So, all right, cool. Well, thank you very much for being on the show, Bertie. And let's get back into, of course, the other thing, just so you guys know, paypal.me/Jeffrey Powers, JEFFREY Powers, POWERS. If you want to donate a few dollars for the show, feel free to do that. And of course, remember, we do have our sponsors, CashFly, which you can go over to CACHEFLY.com if you want to learn a little bit more about how your podcast can be put, or if you need CDN for your websites or your apps or your games or videos or something like that. And then, of course, we're part of MakerMax, which is a network of studio of creators, and we got some really cool options there. And not only do they distribute on YouTube, they also distribute on other platforms. So you might be watching this on an over-the-top television device like a Roku or Amazon or something like that, maybe on the Sling player on the Maker channel. So thank you very much for coming. And, of course, subscribe over at YouTube, and, of course, over at wearabletoday.com. So, all right, well, let's get into the main subject here, and that is this. Google is working on a new WearTech called Project Aura. Yeah, right, Bertie. I totally, completely. Yeah. Google is working on a new WearTech called Project Aura, and they're using experts from Amazon's Lab 126, which I don't know what that is. I'm guessing that's a side project from Amazon. The project started in June and might actually be focusing on a Google Glass successor. Aura seems to be a Google company, not an Alphabet company. CEO Tony Fadell is overseeing this project as we speak right now. Well, maybe not as we speak. Maybe he's going home right now or eating dinner. But, you know, he's going to oversee this whole project of Project Aura. We got this off of Business Insider. And Luke, do you have any further knowledge of what this is about? Or
no, not any sort of inside information. Although it seems like there's maybe something, maybe hidden in the name that be interesting because
okay.
Google Glass, right, was this kind of name for the little piece of glass that you looked through, right? So Project Aura, like, to me, that sounds more like kind of everywhere, right? Like your aura, it's kind of surrounds you and is kind of your, that vibe you give off. So maybe Project Aura is a little bit bigger on the screen, like for what you see, so instead of being this little piece of glass.
Are you thinking like mood rings and body?
No, something like that? Although that could play into it, I guess. I'm thinking just something bigger, like more augmented reality than
so
the glass was.
Kind of like a VR headset or something like that.
Something like that, but that's a lot of conjecture. But it's like there is something to a name. They don't just name things randomly. Although I don't know, some things seem like they are. But this is something like it's a product. Maybe this is a code name, so maybe this isn't what it's actually going to launch as. It's kind of interesting that they said the LinkedIn profiles describe it as Google Glass and beyond.
Yeah.
Which tells me, it's basically everything Google Glass was, which is Android Wear now. So it's all the notifications, all the little apps and stuff, but beyond that. And so you're like, well, augmented reality is definitely playing a bigger part. A lot of people expected Google Glass to be more of that.
Yeah.
We've seen lots of signs from different companies they've acquired. I forget the name of the one company that specializes in augmented reality. I know what you're talking about. I can't think of it either. So yeah, and you've got Project HoloLens.
Yeah,
that's augmented reality. You've got even Project Tango, which is another Google project that has a lot of augmented reality in it. So you're seeing those kinds of things in a lot of places. So it wouldn't surprise me if that's what they kind of mean by Google Glass plus a little bit more. So plus that augmented reality component to it.
Well, what's interesting is, and I totally agree with you on that. I think it'll be more than just a headset or whatever they're coming up with. But what's interesting with this is Lab 126, and it's basically where the Kindle, Fire TV, the e-reader, all the e-readers come from. Is it Dima Svetlov? Is the guy that worked on the streaming stick. So, now we've got all those technologies right there. And now the question is, will they be incorporated into Aura, or will they, they're just credentials that are being passed by? Because if you think about it, what would be really cool is if you walked in the door, and people have talked about this in the past. You walk in the door, your lights turn on. You go to sit down, the TV turns on, or the stereo turns on, whatever it feels you are in the aura for. You're watching, you're sitting there and you're kind of flipping through your phone, you're watching a video and you're going, yeah. You're not really watching the TV, and all of a sudden it might say, hey, do you want to watch this TV instead? And you say, yes, press the button, and all of a sudden it pops up on your TV, or maybe just does it for you anyway, if you're not watching anything. So you don't, you can continue on to something else. We can conjecture and predict what could happen. Maybe we're giving that Lab 120 ideas, if anybody from Lab 126 is watching or listening. But the idea is, that's what I think is going to be the idea of Project Aura, because that's what it makes. The word itself makes sense in what they're doing for WearTech. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
They're definitely got some thought into it, and they're definitely piquing my interest. I'm guessing they're piquing a little bit of your interest, correct?
Yeah. I think it's always neat. This is This Week in Google Glass, right? We've been doing this show about Google Glass long, and then we just kind of had to go on to more general wearables because they kind of shut the program down and said it would be coming back. So we've been waiting now for, I don't know how long, a year, maybe over a year, waiting for them to get back to us with some sort of update. So maybe we're getting closer. There is the huge Google announcement tomorrow. I don't think it's going to be related to this in any way. Yeah, but you never know. They did want to say, and I do want to point this out because it might sound very similar. There's another project within Google called Project Aura, A-R-A, as opposed to Project Aura, A-U-R-A. So good job naming things there. But this Project Aura is the modular phone concept. That's the one where you basically get, the front half of a phone with the screen and everything, and then on the back you just plug in all the different modules that you want. Here's my processor, here's my battery, here's my camera, here's whatever, and they have this modular phone concept. That's Project Aura, not Project Aura. So it's a little confusing, and I don't want somebody listening saying, I heard about that months ago and it was something else. And it's like, you heard there was a project that sounded very, very similar to this that's completely different. So a little confusing there, but so I want to make sure that we just mention that as well. And before that, it was called Google Wave. So I just looked it up. Right. I just looked up projectaura.com, and somebody else has it. It looks like a game of some sort. So I don't know if it's gonna if Google is gonna try and go after projectaura.com, try and buy it out, or something like that. But we'll see what happens. I'm really excited. If it's gonna be kind of what I just explained a couple minutes ago, it's gonna go way beyond WearTech completely, because it'll be more Internet of Things than anything, because in WearTech we talk about Nests, and we talk about what the apps in your car and stuff like that, and technically they're not WearTech at all. They're devices that are so close to WearTech, you might as well just call it WearTech anyway. So yeah, and everything's so integrated now, it's starting to really blur the lines between where does you know, this is my, you know, smartphone, or I start calling it my communicator, because it's like, well, the phone is like such a small part of what this thing does that I think calling it a phone's kind of a misnomer, you know, like it's like, why is the save button disk when no one has used a floppy disk to save anything for, you know, a decade or more now, you know, 2 decades. Well, no, at least a decade. So it's like we get stuck on kind of old names for things. The people aren't going to even really, I think wearable tech, WearTech is going to be part of that ubiquitous computing where it's like, yeah, I guess it's kind of a watch, or it used to be where watches were. So I'm just going to call this thing a watch, even though the time is such a small part of what it does and what I use it for. Yeah. Not only is the phone one of the most minor functions on here, it's also one of the least used functions on this thing. So why do we call it a phone at all? I think that's going to, you're like, WearTech is going to be like that, where you just, it's all kind of runs together, and your thermostat, although on your wall, that's not how you primarily interact with it. Most of your interactions someday will probably be on your watch. And you'll be like, yeah, I guess my thermostat is kind of WearTech, because the place I use it the most is on my watch, even though that's not where it's mounted. Yeah. That kind of thing. So I think the lines are starting to blur. So we really have to consider more than just the things you wear.
Like your garage door opener has that app in here. Yesterday I just talked about IK Multimedia and the iRig system, basically guitar modeling inside your phone, where, you know, I would have had to pull 10, 20 years ago, I would have had to pull out an amplifier and a pedal board with a whole bunch of pedals. And it's all right here for a smaller price than they would have paid right there. So, and a lot of great stuff off of that. So yeah, it's all WearTech. Even Birdie is all WearTech.
Yeah. He's like, what? I am.
So we'll keep an eye out on it. You know, we'll see what Project Aura is going to be all about. I'm really hoping that, like I said, it's something that's going to come, you know, just so intuitive that you're going to forget that it's WearTech and go from there. So,
and I think that's going to be what they're shooting for too. I mean, they've learned a lot with Glass. They've learned a lot with Android Wear. I think that you're going to see, hopefully this has a lot more thought put into it, because now we just know so much more about how people want to use those kinds of devices.
Exactly. All right. Well, if you want to read more, we got the article over at Business Insider. Of course, if you go over to wearabletoday.com, you can get yourself that very link. All you have to do is go to wearabletoday.com and get it. So, and how do they get you, Mr. Luke Wallace?
Me, you can go over to wearabletoday.com, and then you can email me, luke@wearabletoday.com, or you can find me on Twitter. Let's see, where am I pointing for the video people? Down here, there's my Twitter, @LukeLuca. You can also find me on Google+, google.com/+Luke Wallace. On there, have lots of fun stuff. I've even got some pictures up there from my last Star Wars thing. So that's kind of fun if you ever are curious what those things are, you know, look like. Yeah. And you can email Birdie at wearabletoday.com.
There you go. And you can email me at jeff@wearabletoday.com, although why would you want to if you can email Birdie? Simple as that. So, all right. Well, that does it for this episode. What did I say? Episode 84. Thanks a lot for watching. If this is the first time you've come to the show, thank you very much. Come back next week. We're gonna be here next week, right? You don't have any plans or anything like that?
Yeah. Should be here.
My eyes are over here, buddy. Come on. Oh, there you go. All right. So let's try this again. Let's see if this works.
Oh, it didn't work.
Birdie doesn't want to switch fingers. Come on. Oh, man.
Yeah. No, not quite.
Birdie, give me a kiss. There we go. See, that worked. So anyway, that was episode 84. We've got, of course, we have everything in audio and video format. You can check it out. Our friends over at Cashfly with the RSS data feed, and of course, Mac Studios. Thank you very much for being part of the show. We will be back next week. We'll have more wearable tech everything. And so if you have any article ideas, remember we also have the Reddit over at reddit.com/r/wearable today. You can submit articles there. We just got it started, so there's not too much stuff on there. So go over there and be part of that group and give us some love, and we'll go from there. Thanks a lot to Marco for doing some commenting on the Apple Watch OS 2 stuff. Appreciate it much. And then, of course, like I said, we'll be back next week. So you guys geek out on your wearable tech, and take care. We'll see you next week.